Welcome to Afriat Gallery. I'm Acaye E.Pamela, and this is my exhibition, Iwang Sawa. Iwang means to burn, Sawa is time. So when you put the two as well, it has a dual meaning from being caught in the eye of time, but also to burn time. Now, time is a very crucial element to this exhibition because every single piece that made it into this exhibition has been produced over the period of at least 1 year. That is from the time the palm takes to grow in the wetlands where they come from, to its processing after harvesting, to the making, and then when it finally makes it into the market. Over 30 women were part of this exhibition, and they are amazing artists that are not really that visible on the contemporary scene. My goal with the exhibition is to, one, bring these artists into visibility to the contemporary market, two, to remake the woven products and make them into contemporary art so that they are accessible within a contemporary gallery, and three, to throw a spotlight on natural fiber being used in art as a way to preserve and conserve our environment. I'm going to walk you through the exhibition and explain to you piece by piece what inspired them, why I love them, and how they come to be. And first off here is Nterede. I named it Nterede because it is a piece that evokes the ideas of giving oneself rest. A time to heal, a time to rest, a time to find healing. And this particular mat is woven in Kalanami style. Kalanami is a very intricate pattern amongst the Baganda people, and this kind of mat is usually woven to be preserved for hosting people, for visitors. It brings focus back to the idea that women need time and space and the honor to grant themselves rest. I'll walk you to the next piece. Now this one over here, I named Acaye after myself. My name in Allure means positive pride. And the reason I named it Acaye is because this is a very meditative piece and draws from my experience and my training as a therapist. And when you look at this piece, you can't help but start to meditate. One, because of the spirals within it, the coloring and the patterns causes you to refocus your mind and rest the mind. Over here is Vamutenda. What Vamutenda speaks to is resilience and endurance. A lot of the times you see a woman shining, glowing on the street. You do not know what she's been through. You do not know what burdens she's carried or what scars are on the inside of her. But it also speaks to a lot of things about our struggles as human beings. Over here is Mawar. I called it Mawar because it symbolizes the fruits of the spirit. When we allow ourselves to let ourselves go and just do away with all the social and cultural conditioning. There is a lot of unlearning that needs to be done about the place of craft in our lives, especially in the contemporary setting, but also for the women who are primarily making these crafts and how they can transpose this knowledge, this heritage knowledge, into something new. Over here is Iwang Sawa. I named it after the title. One, because of its intricate pattern. Two, it's a bull's eye view into the eye of focus. And what it speaks to is being caught at the crossroads, the transitional sense of where Ugandan craft and art and artisans and also primary artisans are in terms of their place in this world, in the global market. And they're being caught there and having to rethink the purposing of their craft work. Over here is Tuwanese. And what inspired Tuwanese is these bags, and especially during the COVID pandemic, food prices kept fluctuating because of mobility and transportation issues. And I thought, what is an amazing symbol or metaphor to represent that? And these bags become it. Because apart from being baskets that are usually have been made to carry food and produce and that kind of thing, they're also beautiful in their stead as creative pieces. So in deconstructing them and bringing them into that, there's also the poetic justice I do to the state of food security in this country, but also agricultural enterprise. So that is why it's called Tuwanese, and we have surrendered. because whatever these farmers are doing and to grow food and do all these things, there are forces on the market that they cannot control. This other grotesque installation of mats is called chirija, because apart from surrender, there is also hope that whatever comes up in the future is going to turn out all right, that there is going to be renewal, there will be redemption, and that the hopes for which a person wakes up in the morning to go to the garden to plant seed and patiently wait for it to come together will somehow pay off. This installation is one of the closest to my heart. It started in spirit and everything, and what it shows are different harvest materials made out of natural fiber. We have urambas, uderus, we have ugwedes, and we have the baskets. And what I am focusing on is the celebration of our harvest culture, especially the winnowing of grain, because most of these trays are used to winnow grain, but also to collect produce. And my focus is really on food security and climate change and the place of women in all this story, because usually the value chain gets depreciated from the time when the food is harvested. And until that point, the women are toiling in the field. And as soon as they harvest, the middlemen, who are usually the men in the community, take over. They take the harvest to the market, or they're negotiating for prices that do not quite cut it and do not take into account a year or sometimes over a year of seasons of growth. Over here is Uganda. Uganda is the bastardized pronunciation of Uganda by the Swahili when they came during the Indian Ocean coastal trade. So when they were asked at the coast, what is that huge kingdom in the midst of this land? Because they could not pronounce B, they always said Buganda, 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 and usually to the British, who have a problem with hearing the silent vowel sounds that are in some of the languages. So they said, oh, Uganda. And the whole point of it is to draw focus to our naive hospitality nature, which is what brought colonialism in, which is an evil as well as a privilege, as argued by many. But what it did is, one, it cut up these nation states, or this collection of nation states that we were, and named it this country, carved like, you know, a piece of cake with a knife. Over here is called Wani-e. Wani-e is allure for we are here. And Wani-e is just really a play on gravity and what functions we ascribe to certain things. Over here is Ayera. Ayera, by the way, in allure means the chosen ones. So these are chosen pieces, they're choice pieces, and usually they'll be made for some beautiful mat taken to the market. And in this case, I noted them, I reascribed them, and gave them new meaning in terms of it is okay for them not to be used for what has been socially conditioned as their purpose. They're good to look at, they're beautiful, and the spikes and all tell the story of a woman caught up in revolution. And that is what this is about. And over here is called E.E. E.E. is a deconstructed piece, and what emerges is a beautiful, beautiful thought out piece, very intricate, but I also love its musical nature from the circles and the different equations. And this is transposed or positioned on enduro baskets and their covers, and it also plays with centers of gravity. And Banange makes the last piece in the collection, and I name it Banange because it's a word of awe, of wonderment in Uganda. And most of these, all of these weaving patterns are representative of Uganda because all of these were sourced from within Uganda. There is over 14 women who worked on this piece. And when I got the pieces, what I did was deconstruct them and reposition them to tell new stories of texture, of time, of use, of purpose, but also of positioning. And that is how this emerges into Banange. These pieces are also for sale. You're welcome, and they're in Ugandan shillings because one of the goals of this particular exhibition is to make contemporary art accessible to one, the primary domestic market. So this is what it is about. I've been Acaye E.Pamela Keronen. I'm a curator, a cultural enthusiast, and I am a creative and an artist. And I've really enjoyed showing you this exhibition. Come through and see it. Buy art, buy Ugandan, support the creative economy, but also be mindful of the planet on which we live. It's just one.